Hi there, welcome to Xposed TV, brought to you by Stealth Productions. I'm Sarah, and I'll be your host for the next half hour. For fans and newcomers alike, we have a special guest in the studios. She is a Guyanese American entrepreneur. She's the cookbook author of Guyana's Tasty Exotic. She is Deborah Barocas. A spiritual and ethical individual, she's a fashionista, and a very good friend. Welcome to Xposed TV, Deborah. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm excellent. How are you?
Very good. Good to have you on Xposed TV.
Thank you.
Now, we've known each other for a while now, and during that time, you are always multitasking in projects. You're always busy doing, whether it's to benefit your organization or other people and their organizations. But there's this book, Guyana's Tasty Exotic, and we'll be talking about that in more detail towards the middle of the show. But you're also doing a really cool thing for our audience by cooking one of the recipes from your book, and you'll be doing that in the kitchen later on as well.
Right.
Now, apart from those things, what are some of the other projects you're implementing here in the US and abroad?
Currently, I'm working with a group of people. We're looking to build a community center in the rainforest, a place where the indigenous people can go to hone their skills in cooking, reading, computer literacy, to lend something a little extra to implement for the youth. There's going to be a recreational center. There are going to be coaches going down to Guyana from the US, taking gear and equipment for enhancement in that community. Not to change their culture per se, but more or less to procure it, to take it on to the next generation before it becomes a dying tradition.
Absolutely. Now, how gratifying and how effective is this project and working with this group of people, knowing that the end product is going to empower these people?
Well, first of all, I feel very, very fortunate to be a part of that whole group. I feel fortunate because they're women and children, and it's a positive thing for them, for families, for men too, for everyone, for growth, development, new implementations in education and sports. It couldn't be anything more positive than that.
Absolutely. Now, you are busy week in, week out. You're as busy as a bee. How did you find the time? I don't know. But being the mom of two gorgeous boys, how did you find the time to put together the recipes in this cookbook? And, you know, it's so reminiscent of our childhood years and even to present day.
Right. Well, first of all, you know, you have to make time for the things that you're passionate about. More so, my whole thought process behind that was to have something tangible for our people. I mean, I've walked into bookstores and you can't find a cookbook, you know, from Guyana. If you want a cookbook from Guyana, you have to go on Amazon.com UK to get the original cookbook, the very old one from the Carnegie School of Home Economics. But I wanted something more updated, more fun, more hip, more something that speaks to the language of our culture here in the US, people abroad. A lot of people have migrated and their parents cook, but they don't cook, they go to college. I wanted something to give back to Guyana, to give to the younger generation so they can take it forward and prepare those recipes for their own families going forward. And not to have to call their parents every time they want to, like a reference of sorts. Yeah.
Well, it's a great book. I mean, the cover is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's one of those pieces you see in a bookstore and you have to have it. And then you get home and the content is even better. So it's a great book to have. Now, it's coming down to that point where you're needed in the kitchen. Time flies here on set.
Sure does.
You'll be preparing one of the dishes from Guyana's Tasty Exotic.
Right.
Which dish is that?
I think I'll make the stuffed eggplant today for you, Sarah.
Yeah.
My mom used to make that for me when I was a kid, and that was one of my favorites. It was a special treat.
Well, I can't wait to see it, taste it, and when we get back, Deborah would be in the kitchen cooking up a storm.
Okay.
Hi,
My name is Deborah Barocas, and today I'm going to make stuffed eggplant from my cookbook, Guyana's Tasty Exotic, which can be found on page 66. Today I'm going to use a really nice solid eggplant. Try to find a good meaty eggplant because you're going to need the meat to combine with your other ingredients to form the filling that's going to be very flavorful. So today I'm going to use ground turkey. But you can use lamb, chicken, ground beef, ground shrimp, whatever you choose to, whatever your preference is. I will use some breadcrumbs, some Parmesan cheese, chopped onion, and of course chopped parsley, chopped garlic, Worcestershire sauce, some chopped olives, some tomato puree, tomato paste, and salt and pepper. A couple of tablespoons of olive oil and some water to combine and make the filling for the interior of the eggplant. So to prepare your eggplant, you wash and you wipe your eggplant and then just slice right down the center lengthwise, like so. So now that you've cut your eggplant in half, you take some olive oil and you baste the top, place it face down, put it in the 375-degree oven and bake for 25 minutes. If you want to do it a little quickly, cook it in a faster pace in the microwave, you can place it in the same Pyrex with 1 tablespoon of water on the top, cover it with some saran wrap, place it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you're done. You're good to go. So I'm going to put some finely chopped parsley in my mixture. So finely dice your parsley. About 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley is always more flavorful. With 2 cloves of minced garlic, finely chopped, and of course then we'll put our onion. Now you can use about half of this onion because this is a rather large onion, so you don't need a whole lot to get what you need for this recipe. It's probably about a good tablespoon of finely chopped onion. So I'm gonna chop that up and put that into our mixture. And just hold it intact, and then you go back the other way so you have even little pieces. So after this has been finely minced, you will then get a big bowl and assemble all the ingredients, all except the cheese, of course. Okay, so we're back and we're going to assemble the eggplant mixture. So get yourself a nice big bowl and start by putting your turkey in there. I like to pour my Worcestershire onto the turkey so it could infuse the meat. You can add your salt and pepper. You can add all your wet ingredients first so the meat absorbs all the wet ingredients, packs the flavor that it needs into your mixture. Add your tomato paste, and you need about 1/4 cup of water. Pour that in. That's going to moisten the breadcrumbs and bring everything together. I'll put the thyme in there and the parsley. Onions, and of course, well, I forgot my goggles when I was cutting up my onions, so I was tearing for a moment. And of course, some olives, my olives, and breadcrumbs. And the final ingredient is going to be the olive oil. So I need about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And good olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. great flavor. And oh, almost forgot our garlic. Put our garlic in there. And we're going to combine this. Now, it's not quite done. We're going to have to add the meat from the eggplant, but you kind of want to incorporate all this stuff together. So when you put the eggplant meat in there, it's moist. It'll add extra moistness to your filling and bind everything together really well. Okay, so now that we've combined our mixture, we're going to scoop out our eggplant. Because we're gonna need to use that in there in order to finish this dish, in order to put this in back into the skin. And we have to do this very carefully because you need to have this intact. So scoop out your eggplant and just put it on the board because you're gonna dice it up just a little bit. You can leave it kind of coarse, give it a coarse dice, and just lay your skins down. So I'm going to dice that eggplant and add it, of course, to our mixture for our filling. And we're going to continue to mix that in, incorporate that. And this is going to be ready to go back into those skins before going into the oven. Top with cheese, of course, Parmesan cheese. So now that you've prepared your eggplant for filling, this is what it should look like. And still a lot of meat left in there. So then you're going to go ahead and stuff it with the mixture generously. And just fill it all the way to the front. You could use a scoop if you want to. It's probably better. And you spread that out with a spatula or a wooden spoon. And then, of course, you're going to lay that in a Pyrex and top that with your cheese. So after you've generously sprinkled your cheese, your Parmesan cheese, on your stuffed eggplants, you place them in the oven, and your preheated oven, and you bake for about 25 minutes. And that's it. Voila, all done. So there you have it, another recipe from my cookbook, Guyana's Tasty Exotic. I hope you enjoy it.
We're back in the studios and talking with Guyanese American entrepreneur, Deborah Barocas. She's also the cookbook author of Guyana's Tasty Exotic. She's just finished up in the kitchen and she's back, and you, the audience, and I will be taking a peek at what she's prepared. I am sure it's delicious. I can smell it. And also, the recipe was taken from her cookbook, Guyana's Tasty Exotic. Now, time and time again, you're always testing and retesting your recipes to getting them right. And knowing how Guyanese cook with a dash of this and a pinch of that, how important is it, especially since you want this book to, for the next generations to come? How important is it to get the science right?
Well, I too used to cook with a dash of this and a dash of that. I mean, that's the way, I learned from my mom, my grandmother. But what I've done in testing my recipes, I just threw my dashes into measuring spoons and then threw them in little separate little bowls. This way, if I have to go back and remeasure or extend upon the recipe, to make it right, I'm able to go back then and measure. Sometimes it didn't really work out, so obviously I had to go back and redo the recipe. So for me, it was getting it done right by precision for my book. It's important to have precision if you're going to put something out there, especially for people who don't cook, because in essence, you're in their kitchen with them, and it's your responsibility to put a correct recipe out there.
Who is the target customer for this book? I know it's a Guyanese cookbook, and it's all Guyanese, but there's also some non-Guyanese recipes in there. So who are some of the people that you are targeting with this book?
Obviously, I would like everyone to have the cookbook. It's a cookbook that I'm very proud of. It's a book from Guyana. We don't have a Guyanese cookbook out there. And I'm targeting everyone, but more so, like I said, I did it for our country, our people, the college students who don't cook, their children who want to know about Guyanese home foods and, recipes that are pretty much not going to exist after a while. Guyana has become very diverse. So I wanted to capture those recipes of my own childhood going forward. Hopefully, people could have something to look back and say, oh, that was the old way we used to cook.
Right.
Because now Guyana is filled with people from Brazil and Colombia and all those Jamaicans, so it's a little more diverse.
New influences.
Absolutely. And food culture, as we know, it's going to change in Guyana. However, the old staples, still are the best ones for us.
Right. Okay. I know what stumps me in the kitchen. I try to bake, never works. So I am trying to tackle the black cake recipe for the holidays for the family, and it's on page 9 of the Guyanese Tasty Exotic. As a specialist in what you do, what still stumps you in the kitchen?
Baking as well, but I've been making that black cake recipe since I was a kid. My mom would soak her fruits, a year ahead of time. Yeah, and it would be really, really awesome. We'd have to use the old milk to grind the fruits and soak it in wine and whiskey and, sometimes whatever alcohol or liquor we had, we'd just pour it in there and it came out really fantastic. But I wanted to have a really good black cake recipe, so I had to test it a few times myself because I hadn't made it in a while.
Okay.
But it's good.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
My mom's
I'm going
recipe.
for it.
It's my mom's recipe.
I'll have to give you a piece so you could tell me
All right.
how well or terrible I did. You have the Cookbook blog, and you've answered numerous questions, and you divulge countless recipes to the inquiries that come in almost on a daily basis. What are some of the comments you're hearing about Guyana's Tasty Exotic?
Oh, well, I always get the best compliments are usually in the cover. And I actually designed the cover myself. So that's like the best compliment, because before you open the book and view the contents, that's the introduction of what's in the interior of the book. So it's always positive. It's, where can we get the book? The cover is great. Thanks for writing the Guyanese cookbook. Those are generally the comments and questions. And, or we've gotten the book. It's great. One of my friends actually said, I didn't know what I was making before I made your roti. I used to call it roti, but your roti is right on. So I'm glad I did something right.
Yes, I'm sure someone would like me to start making roti also. I don't know. An author's work is never done. So what are some of the things you're planning, recipes you're probably testing as we speak, for going for another cookbook and or products?
Well, not a cookbook, most likely down the road, but I think more likely doing a line of products first, which would be a bunch of type of curries, I should say, a vast number of curries from different parts of the world. For instance, like Malaysian curry, Thai curry, Jamaican, Indian, Pakistani, stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds...
Along with a grilling rub of Guyana's herbs, which is really, really good. I think Guyana's thyme is very, very strong, very potent. It really delivers a punch in terms of flavor. The worry pepper packs a punch.
Oh, it sure does.
So I'm actually making a rub with all of those ingredients, in addition to other ingredients. Also have a line of barbecue sauces of tropical persuasion, you should say.
Yes.
Passion fruit, tamarind, and guava.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Deborah Barocas, the cookbook author of Guyana's Tasty Exotic. Now, Deborah, I couldn't help but notice, because I've had this book for a while now, and you not only have pictures of each of the recipes, but you've also included Guyana, picturesque pictures of Guyana. What was your thought process? What was your frame of mind when you were...
Well, I wanted to bring nostalgia to the people that are here, or the people in Europe. And I think I actually was able to do that. Someone in London got a hold of my cookbook, and her daughter took it to school, and they actually made a recipe in school from my cookbook. And I was very excited. That's the very reason I want to tap into the European markets with my book and my product line, because I believe that people are sometimes tired of the same old, and want to venture into other people's repertoire of food and cooking, and bring a little excitement, to their kitchen, to their home, to their table. So I thought it would be great to take my products out to Europe. From what I've learned lately is that people in Europe are excited to try Caribbean flavored foods, more so because of the exoticness of it. Sometimes just the word infuses thoughts of something new and awesome, so they want to try it. So I believe that's my next step. That's why I'm tapping into European markets. But I was very thrilled that the pictures worked well, because the lady that actually gave her daughter the book is from Guyana. And her daughter was able to see places that her mother spoke of home. Yeah. And I was lucky to have gotten those photographs from my cousin Mike Charles, who made a video of Guyana, Guyana Yours to Discover, along with others. But he lent me those photographs, as well as I got some great photographs from Carafesta that were done by a photographer. I'm drawing a blank for his name at this minute, but I got some wonderful photographs of home to show people who haven't been home, and their children of what Guyana, looks like, reminiscent of home.
Yeah. Well, they tied in perfectly, the foods along with the pictures. So mission accomplished.
Thank you.
You frequent restaurants without reservation. What are some establishments out there you feel would complement so well with the recipes in your cookbook that if they implement your recipes, they would receive rave reviews from it?
Oh boy, I'd like to have my own restaurant. I don't think I want to give them my food.
Oh, you don't want to give them? Okay. In that case, should we expect to?
Very possible. I'm constantly thinking of things to do with food. I wake up in the morning, I go to bed thinking about food. I write recipes in my sleep. Some nights I jump up and write a recipe just because I thought of something unusual. Yeah. So, but I'd love to own a restaurant. I know it's a lot of work, but I think it's nice to have a kind of like a nouveau Caribbean type Guyanese restaurant / American, blah, blah, blah. But it's really to have like a vast number of foods, but mostly of the Caribbean persuasion that would be a 4-star restaurant.
Absolutely. We have many of the other.
Or a 5-star.
I would love to see. Where do you see it, its location?
Sometimes I think of having something in Queens, but then I thought to have something in Manhattan. So going forward, way forward.
Absolutely.
Of course.
So you've heard it here first. There might just be one of those restaurants. Where can the audience find out? There's so much going on with Deborah Barocas. Where can they find out all that's happening, whether on that timely basis? Where can they find your cookbook? How can they reach you?
My cookbook is available at barnesandnobles.com and amazon.com. But you can always shoot me an email or go to my food blog. It's the same name as the cookbook. It's Guyana's Tasty Exotic.blogspot.com, or you can just go to GuyanastastyExotic.com and remember to put the S in Guyana's, apostrophe S. You don't have to put the apostrophe.
Right.
But of course, Guyana's TastyExotic.com.
And you're on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook.
Okay, we're all on Facebook, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's a Facebook age.
Yep.
On that note, we want to thank you so very much for being on Xposed TV, and we hope that you won't be a stranger when those products are well on their way. You come back, and we'll have you on the show.
Well, I'll wait until they hit the markets, and I'll just bring some for you and Tony.
Oh, that too. We could start up our barbecue in the back.
That's right.
And the whole works. But thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And to your audience, we thank you so very much for joining us for the past half hour as we were talking with cookbook author Deborah Barocas. Remember, before you go, to take a look at the dish that she cooked for us in the kitchen earlier on the show. And for all other information on Deborah, you can get them on our website, as well as the information is on the screen. This is another episode of Xposed TV brought to you by Stealth Productions. Once again, I'm Sarah for Xposed TV.
So much I'm thinking of, places and faces I've learned to love. The beauty that once surrounded me burns so bright in my memory. I miss the gentle Atlantic breeze, the swaying branches of the coconut trees, the awesome power of the waterfall's flow, the mystic colors of the rain.